Alright, what I'm going to run through today is who's in control of your emotions? Are you in control of it, or are your emotions just running wild? And you can see that on a day-to-day basis. If you want an example, just see it on a day. You can see it on a daily basis. If you go to work, if you work in the retail industry, if you work in sales or whatnot, you're going to meet people that are just generally angry and miserable, and you don't know why. You say hello to them, all of a sudden they get interrogated, and they just get angry, roughed up, and all of a sudden, and it just gets out of proportion. You're just confused, like, well, what did I just do? And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's their issue. They've had a bad day, and instead of saying, well, it will get better, people assume that they can take all that bunt up emotion they have inside them because of another person and throw that. They assume they have a right to throw that at another person. They don't. They don't. Nobody has a right to tear people down. If you're going to say something, and I know I've had issues with this, and I'm developing in it. Folks, if we're going to say something, if you're going to say something to someone, make sure you're saying it. You make sure you're saying something that's going to lift them up, not tear them down. Because if you do, you reap what you sow. We all know that. What you throw out, you're going to get back. If you throw out misery, anger, and just self-destruction, and then imparting that onto someone else, just tear them down to make yourself feel good, you're going to get that. Because I see on a day-to-day basis people that are just angry, and it's only because of two issues: attitude and action. They have no control of their attitude, therefore they have no control of their emotions. They're not controlling their actions because they're just acting off their emotions, just throwing it at people and trying to tear people down because of a certain incident that happened in their life during that day. So what I'm talking about, what we need to develop, me and you, is emotion control or self-control to maintain our emotion and to control our emotion when we get angry. And address it. Address why we get angry, who's at fault. And it's a lot easier to say you're at fault because then you can change yourself. That video I've already done. And then just address the issue. When you talk to someone, make sure you're consciously aware that when you talk to someone, your anger from the last experience is not coming out when you're talking to that person. Because that person he doesn't know who you are, and they just want to have a general conversation. They don't want your angry issue that you had before coming to the conversation, and all of a sudden you impart that into them. They get angry, and they're going to think of you the wrong way because of that incident that happened, and you're going to damage your character. Folks, if people realize that you're a person that cannot control their emotion, they're not going to come and talk to you. And you might say, well, that doesn't bother me. Yes, it does. It does. If you have a family, it does, because that's going to be seen in your relationship and with your relationship with your kids. If you have a business, it does, because you're not going to have investors coming in, and you're not going to have employees that want to work for you. If you're at school, it does, because you do a lot of group work. And university, or if you go to university or school, it is a contact base. So a lot of people, I tell people at university that university is a contact base. Stop focusing 100% on your academic record and focus on getting as much contacts in university before you go. And the only way you're going to get that is if you have a strong character that stands out from all the rest. Because the majority of students at university just throw out their emotions. They get angry because it's exam time. Therefore, emotions go through the roof. They think they have a right to impart that emotion to someone else because if stress comes through. Now, if you can handle yourself in that certain situation, then you're above the average individual. People are going to be drawn to you because you're not stressed as anything about your exam, because you know that, whatever, I know I'm going to pass, so why am I getting stressed? And what's the worst thing that can happen? That's the kind of person you are. So to wrap things up, control your emotion and make sure you understand where it's coming from. And then address the issue, and then make sure you don't impart that into someone else. Remember, every time you get emotion, act off negative emotion, it damages your character. And if you damage your character, it's very hard to regain it back, especially if someone does not know you and you met them. Because they'll remember that aspect of you, and then you have to rebuild it. So control your emotion.